In a world shrouded in darkness and obscured by deception from the big secret keepers, a burning question ignites in the hearts and minds of truth seekers. Why? Let's dive into the abyss of the unknown. Challenge the limits of our understanding.
This bizarre sequence of double killings raised great questions. Who actually fired the shot that killed Kennedy?
Pierce the veil of secrecy.
Cattle found dead and the manner of their deaths are a real mystery.
Anyone who is concerned about lead in the drinking water in Flint.
And venture into the realm of conspiracies and extraterrestrial evidence.
A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
Let us consider the question, why the big secret?
All right, everyone. I want to welcome you to Roderick Martin High Strangeness. And as always, you could have been any other place tonight, but you chose to be right here, right now. And with that being said, I'm going to serve you. But first of all, I just want to say this. I bid you good evening, good morning, good afternoon, anywhere you may be in the 24 hours of this time zone that this show may go on. Now, I have a big promise is to be the boldest, baffling, belligerent YouTube channel in the world, creating captivating conversations that will certainly cause controversy. Now, my backstory, I'm located in this jumbo state. This is where those UFOs come out to play. It's a Texas thing, y'all. So anyway, we got a great conversation that we're going to be having. So as I told you before, put the kids to bed because what we talk about is not PG. Because we're designed to give nightmares. We're designed to get your consciousness to move into another realm and your dream state to pop off in such a way that it may be, you may not believe it. But as we go down this rabbit hole tonight on who made us, which is one of the things I've always seek the answer for based upon the scriptures. So we're going to get into it. So if I want to give a disclaimer, I don't want to offend you if you are in some religious state. And just because I'm going to bring up some things, I'm not challenging your God, our God, or anybody's God. I just want the truth as a truth seeker to get things to where we are. So obviously we must got a good audio because ain't nobody's complaining. And so that is good. And we will get to that as well. So I want to thank everybody for being here because this is, once again, one of those answered questions that I would like to always try to. And it's a challenge because it gets down to the point, if you look at this Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, who is the us in that scripture? And that is something that I want to talk about in pretty much as we go down, like I said, the rabbit hole of knowledge. Now, one of the things that I want to also bring up is that, you know, I was been talking about this book, the Alien Interview. I think I put it down. But anyway, I'm going to go back into this a little more with the Ariel when we talked about the prison planet. Now I'm going to get into some of her conversations that the extraterrestrials was teaching the people at the CIA how we probably got here. And I'm using the word probably because I'm not saying just because she's from another planet, knows what she's talking about, got superior technology, you know, using things that we can't use, got all these things that's pure, far advanced than we are, that I believe that the alien is smart enough to tell a lie. Why not? It's extra smart, so it could be smart enough to tell a lie. So what we're going to do is get down with this thing and let's look into some of the stuff right now. So here's what we're going to do. In that book, she talked about the origins of the biological entities. And one of the things I want to make sure you stick around, because we're going to go into the stimulus reproduction, because that was one of the plans that they had, whoever created us, that our reproduction cycles are a little different than animals, which I'll go into, but it's stimulated. In other words, we were designed to breed. So for those of you who out there giving it up like it ain't nothing, then don't feel bad, because just tell them you're made that way. You know, you're just made. If you're a guy, you got to have it. A woman, you got to have it. But for those of you who says, nah, I just don't need it, oh, it's been a couple of years, or I've just been holding off, we need to check your biological issues, because supposedly, judging by the documents that we're going to go through, you were designed to reproduce. In other words, that's why it you know, anyway, I hope the kids are put to bed. Like I told y'all, put their asses to sleep. All right? So we want to make sure we do that. But anyway, Ariel, that is her name. She shared with the lady the true origins of the biological entities, explaining the idea of human bodies evolving around spontaneously from what she called a primordial ooze, is an hypnotic lie that's in style. In other words, we just didn't come from this sex, is what she's trying to say. We were created at some point. But she's also talks about, in reality, humanoid bodies have existed in various forms throughout the universe for trillions of years. So basically what she's probably saying is that maybe a lot of people have been creating us. We've been created so many different times that, or over the years. Remember, they always said that our DNA has been spliced like 64 times. So at this point, she's saying that there's, throughout the universe or the galaxy, there's always been people toying with this particular model or creating. So that can go back to the Anunnaki stories, how Enki enlived their sister, and how when she was saying, hey, the what you seek is already here. And at that point, we was probably Neanderthal men or whatever. But one thing's for freaking certain, and which is scientists does not fall down the category, we did not evolve from the planet of the apes. We didn't. If we did evolve from apes, and I'm just saying in my personal opinion, then why are they still here? Why are we still got monkeys in the zoo and walking around in jungle in the Congos and gorillas in the mist when we were supposed to have evolved from those? So evolution would mean that you're no longer what it was, you're now what it is. And obviously, they're still walking here. So, but okay, maybe all of them didn't evolve. Maybe it was some subspecies like we are staying around. And we can play with this shit all night, because I don't really truly have the answers. But I do know there are some scientific people out there in this audience, and you're going to put in the chat all the scientific stuff. So I'm ready for that, because we're here to grow. But she also emphasized, we're talking about Area of the Alien, the biological engineering technology has been used to manipulate human bodies, including heart bypass, cloning, test tube babies, okay, organ transplants, and plastic surgery, and more. And it's almost like we as humans are evolving. Why? Because over the years, we have learned how to do plastic surgery. Over the years, we've learned to go into cloning right now. Over the last few years, the technology of test tube babies and cryo state and freezing sperm and maybe, bringing them back later. And all this stuff has been going into the motion of forward thinking and forward motion over the years. So why wouldn't advanced species of some kind have already mastered those things that we are growing to do, because it's just a matter of time and pretty much. And so meaning there could be a point that somebody can make another you. Now, I know there's some people out there, we don't want duplicates. We just don't want another you. But you might like you and love you enough that you just think there should be a couple of yous out there. And I'm just saying, there's a movie called Multiplicity. Check it out. You can go there. But she also talked about something called Vedic hymns, which is an ancient collection of religious texts that had profound influence on the development of Eastern religion. Now, what really makes this something is really interesting, especially coming from the alien, then as we've been told all of these years that religion is this control mechanism, which I'm not saying it's not, but it also seems from what she talked about, thousands and thousands of years predated of humans, that religious text has been around quite some time. And so there's always, so what that could mean is the question that I think everybody would ask if the alien showed up tomorrow, who is your God? So obviously there is some supreme creator, correct? And she's saying it's been around for years. So why not do that and understand it? And so like I said, we'll get back deeper into this. So what I'm going to do is put up this particular scripture and read it to you verbatim, because it says Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And let me try to give you a voice of a reckon. And God said, let's make man in our image and in likenesses, so that he may rule over the fish, the sea, the birds in the sky, and over the livestock and the wild animals, and over the creatures that moves around it. Now, my goal was to stimulate you so that if you think you was having church, you're not. But the whole point is that wouldn't have been read in church in that particular concept, because when I grew up, it was the Holy Ghost, the Spirit, and all this stuff was one. But again, as I said before, who is the us when it comes down to this? Who is the us? And maybe some of y'all have a explanation that you would like to probably put in here. Who is the us? And maybe you can answer it. I'll check the chat. I'll put it on the screen. I will highlight you on the screen if your us is a viable explanation of in us in our likeness. And if you were taught something different, put it in there too, because I really want to know what you were taught and how long have you taken this particular notion. The Vedic hymns, which are ancient collection of religious texts. Now, they provided a physiological foundation from many Eastern religions. Now, their teaching of nature and reality and the cycles of life and the path of enlightenment became so central to the beliefs and practices of Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. Now, if you see that all of these religions still have the same foundation, which can mean for you, for all of us, no matter what your religious beliefs are, there's obviously a God that is behind that. So we have to look at it. So Duck Momo says the virgin birth lined up in the stars in 2017 when the first eclipse happened. All right, so that's not what I was asking, but that's cool. Maybe the aliens we created by aliens and then the evolution on Earth and natural process. Okay, that's Girlfriend of Bay. Welcome. Let there be light. Truly, we don't know anything. We just woke up here to do your best. You know what? We probably have to go with that. We could probably go with that because it just makes a lot of sense that that will probably be one of the ideas of this. Now, supposedly, they were able to shape our ethical and moral values. The hymns emphasize virtues such as compassion, nonviolence, and respect for living beings, which became deeply ingrained in the cultural and spiritual traditions of Eastern society, okay? They also inspired religious practices. The hymns' description of the rituals, prayers, and meditation became the basis for religious ceremonies and spiritual practice in the Eastern religion, including the use of mantras, yoga, meditation. Now, they preserve cultural and historical knowledge, and the hymns contain valuable insight in belief, customs, and the way of ancient Vedic civilization. So, this all provided a rich source of information for the scholars and historians, which makes you wonder why the Vatican and all these places covered the ancient and those ancestral scrolls, things that is secret, because at that point they would have to put things out there and pretty much. Now, so that you know that we are a community-funded channel, if you decide to want to support the channel or if you find value in the conversation tonight, definitely you can show your support directly. You can use Super Chat with the YouTube there, or you could also use the Cash App at the bottom. It's up to you, but just let you know, we are a user-supported channel from there. Now, Ariel, the alien, shared her knowledge and the insight of biological engineering technology with the author of the book, which was Matilda, or whatever her name is, forget, McElroy, revealing that it was a prominent field of study in her previous life as a biological engineer in a distant galaxy. She also described that the advanced techniques to use to create and modify life forms, including the invention, listen to this, of silical stimulus response generators, which initiated the concept of sexual reproduction. Now, I got a whole list about that. We'll get into that later on in the show of all of this, and which makes it just makes so sense to why, we just want to do it. Why people just want to do it. And I don't, and like I said, although we look at this in a more religious text, that it's bad that somebody has multiple partners, or she's sleeping with everybody, he's sleeping with everybody, or, then now all of a sudden, how come anybody just can't use the line that, hey, I was created such, I can't help it. There is maybe in my particular gene pool, the sexual stimulus, whatever she talked about, silical stimulus response generator is at a high note. We call it high sex drive. I don't know. But I will say this, that anybody says it's malfunctioning or they just was able to turn it off for, like I said, you hear stories months, and you hear some unbelievable stories. I haven't did this in years, and it's just incredible, the fact that people have the power to turn off those things that are inherent. But that's great. You may have those ninja methodical skills. Now, Aria explained that the biological engineer, I know, I'm being bad. I'm being facetious. However, it's okay. Y'all with me. So, Aria explained that the biological engineering was once widespread through the universe with numerous companies like Bugs and Blossoms. Now, I've talked about this before, and we'll get into this later on in another video series, the Bugs and Blossoms. She talked about the alien from this particular interview that was captured, said that there was companies that are out there. And so the concept of business has been around sometimes. The concept of development has been around in the galaxy for eons prior to us getting here or being created. And the fact that, when we think about Mother Nature, there were, so she talks about there's plants. So basically, in a nutshell, if you had enough money and you was wealthy, you can create some type of organism, type of whatever, and then they'll send it over to a place like Earth where all of these different creations exist. And so therefore, the companies that created the plants and blossoms and flowers also are the same company that within their creation of concept is who created the bees, because they needed something to create that will pollinate their creation. So if you think about how the actual honeybees and the bees work, that they go around pollinate these other plants and plants in order for them to continue to grow. But this is all by design. And we know nothing just happens. We know that within this earth and how things work, that everything is some type of system. But when it comes out there in the free world of nature, we call it Mother Nature. And so, but now she's saying that nothing just happens. This is not no coincidence that all these things happen. It's not only done by design, but it was invented and created to act and work as it does today within our lives. And so we just look at it spiritually. So why is it that we want to say we can ground or something and go put your foot in the grass and you're going to feel this type of energy? Maybe enough energy that you can then go put on a red cape and you can fly because you're Superman or Superwoman. Who knows? But the energy is in the earth, and we're pretty much doing that. All right. So, but anyway, I didn't see much. I didn't see much in of y'all answering the fact of what do you think about the scripture. So I need to put it back up before I go further. Let me put it back up because obviously y'all didn't see it. But God said, let's make man in our image and likeness of ourselves so that he may rule over the fish in the sea. But I just stop at the first part. Let's make man in our image and our likeness. And those two words of us and our really catches your attention because it's just a plural thing. So what are your thoughts? And, put some in the chat so I can know your thoughts when it comes down to this and whatever. So help me out. Don't y'all just leave me here by myself, which I can handle it now. I have no problem of entertaining and being here and doing what I do. It is what I do. So I'm okay with that. But I would love to have some support from these co-host of people that are sitting in our audience with all of this superior knowledge that you possess. She also said that the advanced knowledge of biological engineering different from the technology available on Earth in several ways. So what we're going to do real quickly is kind of put what she's saying technology has and does, or where we haven't gotten to yet, but they've already surpassed it. Which again, who's leading us in those directions? In pretty much, someone says, does God speak English? Because how can we trust that translation? And someone else says angels. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know. That's a fair enough question. And I think that's something to think about over time. I mean, it's something. But anyway, I left it up there long enough to ponder, and hopefully, some of you seen it in order to get where we was going with that. All right. And Anunnaki created us. That's fine. We have telepathy. That's fine. Well, and it's not that the Anunnakis could not have created us, because according to the document of her conversation, there are tons of different species out there. Now, I've said it before. If you take a look at who we are as a people, and if you take a look at us as an individual, then we have this blueprint, right? There is some success in some type of blueprint that somebody figured it out and said, you know what? For at least the baseline, eyes, a nose, and a mouth, and a couple of ears work. Because you got dogs, got a mouth, 2 ears, 2 eyes, and a nose. Cats got and 2 ears, eyes, and a nose. Monkeys got 2 ears and eyes and a nose, a mouth. You have fish, got 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. You have, and the list just goes on and on. The she-wolf, who I was married to, had 2 eyes, a nose and mouth, and all those things. So it is not uncommon that at this point that the format for 2 mouths, eyes, a nose, and all of this stuff actually works. So who created us? Who said that this works? We're going to use this for all types of species and animals, and then we will evolve from there. And then, of course, at this point, by the time they got to us, as the scripture said, we gave them dominion over everything. And it's why we're probably so barbaric until we get out there in the jungle and one of them big old lions said, not here, not today. But their advanced knowledge in biological engineering different from the technology available on Earth. One of their advanced things was genetic engineering. Earth scientists, what she's saying is unaware of the concept of genetic engineering, and with arrows people use to create and modify life forms. So she's saying that the aliens have already gotten to a point to where they know how to genetic modify life forms from there. And we can kind of go into those things from there. Another part of that is artificial bodies. Areas people had the technology to create artificial bodies, which was not biological and did not require food or sleep. What the fuck? All right, so let's stop right here. I'm going to circle this because this goes back into our previous conversations. The body being a vessel and not the vessel. Our souls is what really, our spirits is what's the energy that is in all of this, and that's what's transferred. Now, what we do know, if we want to go back to Newton's law, energy is never whatever done or whatever ended or whatever, it just transfers and moves at any place. Then why wouldn't we believe in reincarnation? Because we're energy, right? We're energy beings. And if I'm wrong, correct my ass in the chat. But if that's the case, energy is never moved nor lost or whatever. It's just transfers, which makes sense. So she's saying that they had the ability to create artificial bodies, and they had the technology to create, non-biological and did not require food or sleep. And if you remember, and a lot of our great aliens and stuff that we start getting pictures of and descriptions, they really had a little bitty mouth. So you can imagine at this point how that went, where it was no need to eat food. So why would we evolve into that? I don't know, but it makes sense because that means that they are preserving what they intended for was to preserve life in the way of life and things the way it is. Because if you're not going around eating all the animals up, then at this point we're looking at things a little different. And so those are the things. Have you ever interacted with yourself? No, they interacted with themselves. Ian says, if the ancient civilizations all echo some similarity, is it possible that they all interacted with something greater than ourselves? Probably so. I wouldn't doubt it. What about the Dogons? Yeah. So, yeah, questions is which species? All right, y'all talking now. You made you. I don't know what you're talking about on that one, but you can explain it. The answers is in our DNA, and I never created or destroyed. Yeah, we talking about energy. That's fine. Did we modify the Dogons also? It's possible. It's possible. All is possible. But one of the things about it is that we think about evolution. What if the goal is to create humans that don't need food or sleep, that can work 24/7? Is that some slave new race, or what the elite says, we want to develop that type of race, human race, that the human race doesn't need food? Now, why would you? Why would you create such a race? Why would you create some type of evolution that we now no longer need the cow and Big Macs and Burger Kings and vegans and, well, some of y'all who say y'all vegans and stuff. But the whole point is, if you don't need any food, why do this? And now that changes the whole, economic system, because cows are being used every day to be steak meat or whatever, wherever they do. But why would we put ourselves out of economic business? But yet we could develop new species of humans, like she said, they've already evolved, that don't need food or sleep, and sleep. And now I know some people. Now, if she's correct that they have invented or been able, and listen to me closely, I just want y'all to hear what I'm about to say here. If they have got enough technology that humans do not need to require food and sleep. I know some people, and they may be here watching, that sleep is like a freaking, I can't even tell, it's like skin. They got to get it. I'm not saying we all don't need sleep, but I'm saying sleep is like, it's not even a word to these people. I mean, it's like, it's like a rock or something. It just hit them like, boom, sleep. Or, oh, I was fucking tired, I'm asleep. So if they can turn that around, it will probably improve relationships. Maybe. It probably would. You get what I'm saying? Because you would have somebody, the excuse wouldn't be they're tired, I'm sleep all the time. So, and then you'll have to require food. That would mean I wouldn't be big for my age. I don't know. But I think people would just do it anyway, because you got free will. They're going to sleep anyway. They're going to eat food anyway. So regardless of us doing that. Someone says, what's going on? All right. You good? You God said what's going on. All right. I believe the powers that have mastered this by now. Yeah, I mean, they have. I think they have. She also talked about, and we'll get into this in a few seconds here, cyclical stimulus response. Now, Ariel's people have invented what they call chemical and electronic interaction, again, called clinical stimulus response generators, which cause a seemingly spontaneous recurring impulse to reproduce. So basically, she's saying that we were genetically designed, and I said that early on within the live stream, to reproduce. We're supposed to have some fucking babies. So I don't get it to where, okay, we have situations, and I understand that we're in political world, we want to have those things to block acts, Roe versus Wade. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, but we were designed that way. We were designed. So if we were, could that be an argument? Like I said, even a relationship, if you're a man, be like, hey, or your woman be like, I slept with him because I couldn't help it. So imagine if that's the true case. Someone who cheated on you couldn't help themselves. They were genetically designed to try to reproduce. Whoa, isn't that something crazy if that was the case? All right. I know you wouldn't buy it. I mean, but if you can look there and tell your mate that this is the reason, and it is in here, it's saying that that's the case. But that's the joking side of it. That's my humor. But the other part of that I'm saying is the fact that maybe that is why the sensation of all of those things are so heightened, almost drug-wise, right? It's almost lethal in a way that when those things happen within that particular, session in your life, then it is, I'm being really soft here because I just don't want to make sure people think that's all he's talking about. That's all he want to talk. No, I'm just using this of who made us, and now she's saying that we were designed for some of these ways. We was also designed for some other shit too, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But it definitely wasn't having a job working 9 to 5. We wasn't designed for that. Maybe you were. Maybe you wasn't. So, having said that, we then get back to the creation. Who did aliens create us? Okay? Were we created? Now, we can go back into our stories. We can go back into the biblical stories of saying, hey, all of us came from Adam and Eve. That's, in whatever in the manger and all of the stories. Noah's Ark, where it's only 300 feet, I think 500 at the tops, that the book says this ark was, and yet this booger had room for 2 elephants, 2 giraffe, 2 rhinoceros, 2 blue whales. You know how big a fucking blue whale is? 2 of everything. It was to be able to fit into the Noah's Ark. But yet, with the highly intelligence of Noah, nobody said we're going to leave a roach behind and a mosquito, because you need 2 to reproduce. And only if they just left one of those roaches and mosquitoes behind, we'd have been pretty much. All right, so let's get back to the cyclical stimulus response. Now, this describes a pattern where the stimulus is a trigger or input leads to a response, which in turn influences the next stimulus in repeating the cycle. It's like a cycle. And here's a breakdown of the concept. And I think that's so important because, Billy Carson talked about this worship gene. And somebody told me I was made for relaxation. Me too. That means, I guarantee, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say, with them 2 coming in agreement, me and the moon and the body electric supplement, I will be able to say this is that, but I'm not going to do that. All right, so we're talking about a repeating cycle that is by design. And by those aliens, she's saying that they design us to be. Understanding the basics of this would be stimulus is anything that triggers a reaction of change. It could be an external event, a thought, a feeling, or a change in environment. So if you start thinking about it and only using our, reproduction side of things as an example, because I think most of us here can understand what I'm talking about. I'm sure there's no virgins listening to us, male or female, listening to us on this podcast. And if you say that, or you think you went back to that because it's been 2 to 3 years or 2 years, it is not possible. All right. But I'm saying, if you think that thought is real, raise your hand. We would love to congratulate you on that momentous moment. But what I'm saying is that this stimulus is anything that triggers a reaction or change, or it could be an external event, a thought, feeling to an environment. Also, stimulus is a response. The reaction caused by stimulus. This can be a behavior, a psychological change, emotional state, or cognitive process. But what about crime and all these things that people do? What y'all raising your hand for? Y'all know damn well I relax by reading and eating buns, sir. Y'all so funny. Bunnets and bun. Damn, this shit gets complicated. All right, so when you start thinking about crime, when you start thinking about things that happen to us on a regular basis, and like I said, Billy talked about this worship gene, that there is a worship gene that is placed in us, or have been placed in us to cause the stimulus to respond to worshiping. That is really one of the things that I would think, where is this coming from? Why would they do such a thing? Can people help themselves? You know, so now I can probably say there was probably a gene in me that I had to do certain things I've done. But regardless of that, the silical is the key here. It's the response to stimulate that becomes the trigger for the next one and creating a continuous loop. This is freaking amazing to understand that we look at us as the divine, or we look at us and we're trying to the pursuit of happiness, that at some point somebody genetically engineered us to react and do the things as though we were some type of science project. Could you believe that? Now, I will tell you this, and I'm only on, I think, episode 1 or 2. Somebody texted me, hey, you need to watch this movie, three something people or something, and, you know, almost instantly, I'm thinking flat earth, right? I'm like, whoa. But once again, it is crazy to think that how all of this just could be fabricated, our own existence, me talking to you, you being who you are, your children, and everything. It's like somebody just playing games, is that we're going to design some stuff and let the project run rapid, you know? And I would assume if you took 3 or 4 animals and put them on an island and came back 10 years later, there's probably be hundreds of those animals, because life has to reproduce. It just makes sense to do that. But it still doesn't tie in the fact of these souls, because you got to remember, she comes back early and said they was able to create non-biological bodies. Now, we've heard this. We've heard that back in the day in the 40s that they found some of these alien grays that they felt that they was wearing mechanical suits. She talked about that a lot of the rich people and very wealthy elites within the galaxy would pay money to be placed in some of these biological bodies of grays when they come here to Earth, so that they can visit and do this. Now, I've read in other cases that one of the privileges that, or the divine design that we are humans, because we have emotion and the aliens don't, that this is why they're creating a hybrid programs, because somehow this particular part of the science project got out of hand and now we have emotion. So there lends the craziness when it's, you know, that time of the month. I don't know. Maybe that's the issues. But where I'm going with this is that obviously at this point she's saying that, you know, those are things that we can put together. So I think it's funny that we can do that. This is like a video game from Rick and Morty. All right. Me and the moon laugh out loud. All right now. Oh, y'all just really, really, really. Okay. Just coming together here. Oh, yeah. I bet y'all some 2-year folks. I better not say that. I don't have no clue. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. Unless y'all had, you know, parties this weekend, and went out and had some fun. All right. So examples of this response. But it comes back to, once again, who fucking made us. So before I go any further, let's get some answers here. We got 80-something folks in here right now. I would expect to get at least 15, 20 answers. All I want to know, not all this weird stuff. If you don't know, please don't put an answer so we going to know that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But if you do know or have an idea, we'll take ideas, but just not this crazy off-the-wall stuff. Who made us? Tell me in your thoughts who made us. Now, I know you made you. I know that's your thoughts. Let's pass that one up today. Who made us? That's all. You can be what you've been taught. You can tell us it's what you've been taught. That's fine. Who made us? Not who made you, but I'm saying us as a species, the human collective, humans. Yeah. And so who made us? God made us, but the aliens manipulated our DNA. Okay. The fact of the matter, what's your thoughts? Okay. My mama made me. See, y'all got jokes. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get some serious moderators. And I want them to just spank everybody who just can't. We already know from the other video I did last week that it's a part of people's DNA to be non-compliant. That's why we're on this prison planet, even in the most simplest forms. We just can't even play along. We can't even just play house together, you know? Let's play house together. Come on. All right. And some of those answers I'm not even going with because y'all not giving no facts. Y'all just throwing. And if you can't prove why you think what you're saying is what you're saying, please, believe me, elaborate on your suggestion. I'll be more or less to do that. How did you get, anyway. All right, so the computer, all right, that's cool. And so, okay, so basically what that means is none of us know shit. Y'all get what I'm saying? And we should be able to start to accept that. You get what I'm saying? Because some of y'all can't even prove what you say. And I'm not saying that. Only a few of you commenting, but you're not saying anything. I'm not trying to come at you. But the fact of the matter is you're not saying anything. So if you want to say exactly what you mean, give us some context. But other than this, you're not saying nothing. Give us some, whatever. Give us some directions. Oh, no pun intended. Fact of the matter. Okay, cool. No pun intended. All right. But you cool. I'm just saying. So I'm saying is obviously we don't know shit. We don't know. I reckon to say we don't know. Y'all get what I'm saying? It's just that we don't know. Because if we knew, then we may get our way behind the curtain to kind of see some things when it gets to that point. And I think that's something that we can think about from there. All right, let me give a quick break in sequence here. And as you know, there was a nomination for the second annual Forbidden Knowledge Conscious Award. Here are the people that's in the category. You have Aaron Lyons, my sister, Alex Ferrari, I don't know him, and then Sean Ryan, I don't know him, myself there in the left corner. In the link of this video, you can go and you can vote. As soon as you tap on it, just pick Roderick Martin, Why the Big Secret. Vote for me for the Conscious Awards. Now we're in this point, and once again, you can go there, and I'm in the podcast category, okay? And you can vote for me right there. Category podcast host, second annual Forbidden Knowledge Conscious Award. Hope you get your tickets to go. We're going to have a blast there. Going to be a celebrity basketball game. It's going to be, but let me know if you voted. Put it in the chat and let me know that you voted. All right. So Charles said, I'm not sure, but it was not Jesus. That's what I'm talking about. See, I love a man and his honesty. That's my boy, right? He probably got one of the best freaking answers out there. He said, I'm not sure. Not this other, who made your lunch? Come on, are you kidding me? How do you get hungry? I got hungry because I got a big-ass stomach. I eat. You get what I'm saying? That's not something to joke about, but you can laugh at me about it if you want to. But I'm saying that's how I got hungry. C. Grace said I voted. Ann said I voted. I appreciate you. This point is where physics become philosophy. That's cool. JR says God is the power. Me and the Moon said we don't know for sure. That's what I'm talking about. We got some honesty out there, and pretty much, and I like that. In the beginning, everything was one point, including all consciousness that would ever exist. Okay, DNA encoded like binary data on a computer, and then a whole genetic makeup can be uploaded onto a computer, just like. Well, I mean, you know what? It's good. I mean, I guess we could think about that across the board. But anyway, make sure y'all vote for me when you get to a point to do this, and let's do that. All right, so let's continue a little bit for, again, the examples of electrical stimulus response. And the reason I'm saying this is because we react to so many things today. There are so many ways that we are acting as humans, whether it's flawed or not flawed, whether it's good or not good. But obviously, there could be issues in the way that we act and respond to certain things, and it's one of those things. And I think it's something that we should do tonight. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we do. Can we have a link to voting? There is a link in the description of the video. Let me see here, but I appreciate you asking, and let me make sure if I can find it, and we can do this. Yes, vote, 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 because I want to win this year. I'm going. I'm going to be looking good when I go, and I want to walk across that stage. Y'all are going to see a couple of things, and it's going to be great. Hang on a second here. Let me pull it up. So we're going live. We should have a link right here. All right, so let's do that. There. Okay. There you go. All right, so, wait a minute. I need to divide that link up for you. Hang on. That didn't work out right. Let me kill that stuff. Hang on. I'm going to try it again here. All right, so there's the link in the description. So I just did it the second time. So that's what it looks like. Click it, and then it'll allow you to vote. Let me know you voted so I can give you a shout out for your vote. Also, if you want to get on our newsletter, they're also in the description of this channel. Why the Big Secret website. As soon as you go to it, it's going to ask you to opt in. You can opt into our newsletter as well. Another thing as y'all know, we are launching Project Black. I talked with Reverend Michael Carter and a couple of people. So in a few weeks, we're going to do our first online webinar. It'll be about 4 or 5 hours. I'm just picked the date and time for you all to want to get involved. We also did a brand partnership with a company called LIVEPURE. If you ever heard of them, they got some great weight loss products that I'm going to be doing. But they also got this new coffee, and I'm not a coffee drinker, but I sample it, and it's pretty good. If you are pretty much a coffee drinker and you want to support the efforts, because I'm going to use those funding for our seminars for Project Black, and I figure it's a lot easier if you just don't contribute here, but it's something that you do already, then you want to try this. I want you to support me the much as you can here. Right here, you can go and try. They got a cream and caramel coffee, only about $2 a cup. That's 3 times cheaper than what they call Starbucks and all that stuff. But this also has some good stuff for as you losing some weight. I mean, help you with some ailing issues and things. I mean, this stuff is really pretty good. I looked at it, talked to my doctor before I was going to start drinking it, because I'm even not a coffee drinker, but I started on it already. But I definitely want you to support. If you can get you some cups of coffee or whatever, if you want a free sample of some of the stuff, then email me your name and address at contact@whythebigsecret.com. And then, but I need name and address and all that stuff. In about a week or so, I'll send you out a sample, and then you can try. But if it's something that you do and you want to support the channel, because now we're a brand partner of them, then definitely do that. And I'll give you updates on how we're doing with more people supporting us through that. So let me put it back up here, but definitely would love for you to, is that mushroom coffee. Now, I know it's got, I know the latte is caramel and cream, and I went to a sample to this place, and we was talking to them because they was talking about doing brand stuff, and especially any of you got YouTube channels or you got affiliates, you want to really do that, you can contact me and we can work together, because we're going to do something. But I'm really going to the route of supporting our channel and doing more things and getting out here with stuff. And I figure these are going to be better ways to do it. But definitely you can go to that website, and I'll put it back up here real quick and check it out. But I want you to, and the first person that does, of course, if you reorder after you reorder and you like it, as y'all know, we have our own Why the Big Secret and High Strangeness UFO Alien Coffee shirts. I'm going to send you out one absolutely free. You just paid a $5 or $6 shipping, and I'll send you that 100% cotton shirt, and you can wear it while you're drinking your coffee. So, and we have coffee mugs and all that too. So I just think, if you can support that way, that'll be good. And I'll put it back up, and then we're going to move on to the show. Right there, you see the web address, livepure.com/Roderick. They have other weight loss products and real good nutritional stuff, but that latte and bold coffee is really freaking good. And when you go there, check it out. And like I say, do not waste time letting me know that you want to pretty much do that, and I'll support you to do it. All right, so let's finish. So those are going to be part of the brand stuff there. Anybody can be with them, but I think it's pretty much logical there that we will build a true seeker team over time. Example, we'll get back to the stimulus at this point, economic cycles. For some reason, a company releases a great new product, stimulus. So this is our examples. This lead to an increased sales and profit. Then the company uses the profits to invest in research, leading to a better product's next stimulus. These enhanced products further boost sales. So now that we know that we were created a certain way and somebody created us, then you can bypass the story, like I said, that we all came from Adam and Eve. How is that possible that two particular people over time, unless we are some genetic anomalies, because after they done this so much, incest and inbred, now we have, different races of people. And that's the only theory I can think of from Adam and Eve, that it was just a mistake that these two then produced all these different people. Now, sorry, y'all know that ain't the deal. And we can kind of look at some of that stuff and to do that. Sad I missed it all. I guess I have to catch up. Yep, because we'll be ending pretty soon. Y'all know that tonight I'm going to end early. So we got about 9 minutes left. I just want y'all to know. About 9 minutes, and then we will be getting out of here at 9 o'clock. But we'll be here tomorrow night for a few hours. Friday night will be our extended time, and pretty much from there. All right, so psychologically, if you experience a stressful event, the stimulus gene that is placed in all of us, this trigger the release of stress hormones like cortisol response. The cortisols make you feel even more anxious, potentially making your response to future stressors heighten. So when you say you got anxiety, could we just breed it out? Could we make sure that the mother doesn't have anxiety and the daddy doesn't have anxiety or had it because it looks like it's part of the DNA? And then all of a sudden we breed it out. So you're being a little more selective in the men or women that you're procreating with and say, hey, if you got this and I got that, we don't want to amplify it because it's in the genes. Regardless, it could be generations back. You can't just really get it out of there. But we do it with dogs. When I was a dog breeder, over time, we would breed certain generations of dogs to produce a certain look of bone structure, colors, if anything. If you check the DNA and get those things done, we as humans manipulate genes all the time. So why wouldn't somebody have been doing that with us if we were created? There's something to think about. Why wouldn't they have done that? At this point. So anyway, I'm just thinking, and we think about psychology, you experience a stressful event, and then they're talking about that. And then we're talking about learning. A child is given a puzzle, which is stimulus, and then they solve the puzzle, which gives them sense of accomplishment response. Then the feeling accomplishments motivates them to try more and more stuff. It's incredible that all of this stuff that we look at is pretty much. All right, so we have energy can't be created and destroyed. Yes, I've said that earlier, which why I tied that into us being energies inside of these bodies, which makes sense back to being a soul. The fact that we possibly had never gone, we're always reincarnated because energy is moving constantly, and maybe that could be something stupid enough for me to not go there or go there. Who knows? But I think we can find out that there's something that we need to look at from there. All right. So let me skip this part and go to my other paper here. So what's really interesting, and like I said, I just homed in on this, is the fact that they talk about when it gets down to humans, and I thought about in reproduction how these genes and things work, okay? In some animals, the alien was talking about this, that changes of the daylight, hours, photo period act as stimulus. This makes these animals want to reproduce. So now let's really be honest. For those of you who still remember how to reproduce, what is those stimulus that you think? I'm not saying if you was in the presence of another person, we know that can probably work. But have you ever just sat there or whatever, or it was a certain day of the weather or the wind or the moon or something that just triggered for you to just have this thought or whatever, oh, I need to reproduce. And they're saying that they have what they call response changes triggers to release specific hormones. And this is all from the aliens saying they did this on purpose. I don't know. They did it on purpose. I got enough to read about it, but I'm not going to just go deep. And I'm not trying to go there because I know that's a touchy subject to be talking about reproduction and stuff. But I'm just trying to get to the point, and I'll bag up to say, and I'm going to put this back up here as we come toward the end in a little bit, of who is the freaking us in Genesis when it comes down to this. And so as we go a little deeper into this moment, we are all intelligent enough to try to assume we did not evolve from apes. How many of you out there would still take that consideration that man is an evolution from ape, walking on the ground till we start being bipedal, and now you have what we have today? How many of you believe that? Man evolved from apes. That's the question of the night. And if that's the case, seeing a dude reading a book adding a bun, wink, wink. So that's a stimulus for you. Okay, that's cool. No way from apes, thank you. Never. All right, hell no, thank y'all. Yeah, I mean, because remember, this is what's taught, that we were evolved from apes. This is what's taught. That's crazy. Did you mention today, right now, people can pay to create the perfect child? And I think that may end up being, well, okay, you know what? All right, so that is perfect, Nursing the Paranormal, because that's part of what I've been saying is now it's like she's saying that we're getting to that point, the alien in this book, that they have already to the point where they can modify things. And that's why I was kind of say earlier to somebody like, you might nowadays can sit with someone and say, hey, we don't need to breed. You got this, I got this, we don't need to breed, but we can go over here and get something selective, and maybe we want the child to be 8 feet tall, outrun the wind, and catch BBs in the dark. Now he plays football, right? Or basketball, who knows? Or maybe we want the next scientist, you know, or have this. But it's just kind of one of those deals. But it goes back down, like I said in the beginning, were we created from apes? You know, nope, man existed and added the rhesus factor to the dumbers down. Okay. If you go to evolution, you would have to flip the progression according to logic. Yeah, and so I think that's the point. So the next part, were we created from apes? The other part was, did we all come from Adam and Eve? So what are y'all answers? Did we all come from Adam and Eve? Somebody tell me y'all tripping. I don't know what they mean, but they obviously is typing in all caps. Fact of the matter, I don't know, but you capping tonight. Capping. All right. So that is my point, though. You know, did we all come from Adam and Eve? So we already said we didn't come from evolution of apes. Did we come from Adam and Eve, you know, from that point? No, because we should be way stronger. Nope. All right, so now we can bear that down. We didn't come from Adam and Eve, which is the book is also being out there all day long, and we did not evolve from apes. So that leads us to the direction of who is that us in chapter 1, verse 26. Let us make man, us. Almost like it's a group of us sitting around. Attack me. I'm not gonna attack you. You're typing away, so we're not. We all got free here. As long as you you're respectful in your own way. That's cool. You know, we got moderators. I mean, we had moderators. You know, we supposedly have moderators, but shit. I haven't seen a moderator do nothing in months since they've been here. We might need a whole new moderator group or something. Maybe I need to explain what moderation means, and maybe some of them will moderate who are moderators. And I'm not going to call out the moderators because y'all would know who they are because they stand out when they are in here. So you'll know who our moderators are. But other than that, it's all good. Yeah, but, you know, I think our moderators moderate. So, again, it's like, do you look at what is happening from where we are? All right, so at this point, y'all like people are just sitting around deciding how everything, y'all like people are just sitting around. All right, so here's the deal. Let's do this then. All right, I'm going to tell you to chill out for a second. That's how we're going to do. Just for the moment. All right. All right, we're going to chill you out just for a moment, and then you'll be good to go in a few minutes. Just give me a moment to do the show here. Back to the matter. Just hang on a minute. Don't be scared. Don't be mad. All right, so we'll get to that, and we'll get you going. It's going to be, it'll time you out for 5 minutes. Just give you a moment there, a moment. She said yes because guess what? Have I been? He been at it the whole show. Yeah, I went on and modded myself. It's always better if one of my moderators would do it, but I went on and did it. So now it's my fault. Everybody gonna be like, Roderick, whatever. But anyway, if you find any value, like I said, if y'all know we are a community-supported show, on the bottom of that screen down there is our Cash App, or if you want to super chat here tonight, you can kind of do so, because without you, we don't do, or I don't do what we're supposed to do. And once again, Project Black, you know, we are now going to support it. I'm a brand partner with this company, LIVEPURE. They got coffee. They got some great weight loss. You're going to see me using it and drinking it here on the air. And I'm going to do a weigh-in in a couple of days, and then we're going to go on a journey together. But in the meantime, if you're a coffee drinker, this is almost like 2 cups a day. It's healthy freaking coffee. The testimonies are out this world. And like I said, if you support them, they're supporting me, us, in our community, and what we're doing. And I'll let you know how that's going. Right now, I have a pledge of getting 20 customers. So if you want to and support the show and become a customer, go to that website with my name there. Order you some. They got other stuff, but get that coffee. I'm telling you, the cream and caramel, a box of it, it's like $2, man, for a cup. So, I mean, that way cheaper than Starbucks, and it's healthy, and it has a lot of other benefits to you, pretty much from there. And we can do that. All right, so Mark Eddie's in the house. Mark, I need to call you tomorrow. I got some stuff that I need you to pretty much do, and we will definitely do that. All right, so is there anything from there? Let me take this off the screen and before we get out of here. So are any of you coffee drinkers? If you, like I said, if you want a free sample, you know, I have to just send you a pack, but to taste it and stuff. But you can, you know, contact at waterbigsecret.com, name, address, and then I'll get you a sample out there and everything. But if you if you want to support us, you can, and pretty much. But I'm just trying to get to a point where I don't have to have this Cash App over here all the time. And I know everybody doesn't have extra stuff to be sending, but if it keeps you doing what you're already doing, then if I can give you something cheaper and better, would you get it from me instead of, you know, one of those billion-dollar corporations? That's all I would ask. That's all I'm asking. And then for those of you who says, you know what, but yeah, so I promised to set a goal, 20 customers, hopefully pretty soon this week or whatever. So if you can be one of those customers, go to that website. It's in the description of the video too. You can click it and get you some coffee or whatever. You might see something else there you like too. But I'm going to tell you, I have $1 million gut right here. It's worth $1 million. And if you got one, if you got $1 million gut, you need to join me. And if you don't have no gut, get one, because they're not hard to get. And and then join me on the journey. Yeah, we're going to call it Fat Cash. We'll call it Fat Cash. Yeah, how about that? And we can do that. And we can do. Somebody said they're on something else. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to get ready to get us out of here because we are done. And so I will say, I do still sell the bug out stuff. You can go to preparednesslife.com. Now, I'm very, very challenged, and that's not the word I want to use, with our community. You know, few people got their bug out bags, but we could have a lot more. But I'm telling you all, even right now, let me give you an example. They're telling people right now to get prepared for this eclipse. Yeah, you're going to run to the store. But if your ass have to move really quickly, for example, some of you, I don't give a damn how much food you got in the house. That's not going to work for you. You got to be prepared. Now, the two things about the bug out bag as well as preparation, it's all in one. So if you had to stay home and you got a 72-hour bug out bag, you good to go. But the whole thing about the bug out bag is preparation. And when the disaster strikes and then you're trying to prepare or go stacks up in the house, or do I have this, what I need to get out of here? Yeah, you went and got everything. It's in the shelves and everywhere. But when you just pick up that fucking bag and you're on the go, like you're on the move like Channel 8, then you should do that. That's all I'm saying to y'all. And it's nothing like the time, and it may not be the cause of the eclipse, it's the chaotic of the people from the eclipse that's going to cause you to have to go into survival mode in some cases and everything else. But it's all about being prepared. All right. I got 3 bug out. I got the big red one in there and I got that in there. So I'm just telling y'all, I'm not, but anyway, the website is preparednesslife.com. And I've seen more people in other communities that are prepared than people in our own community. And I can't tell you that I don't care. All I can keep doing is telling you the message. And then if it resonates with you, then you will probably act up on it. But at this point right now is all I can say. And pretty much. All right. So see, look, I gave you a timeout for 5 minutes. He come back strong. Why am I so strong in my opinion yet you aren't strong in your opinion you have? I am strong. I'm just not giving a fuck to come after you this way. You get what I'm saying? I am hosting a show. So there ain't no weakness. It's respect that I have for you. You get what I'm saying? So, but I'm allowing you to do what you want to do in here. And if that's a problem, then we can shut it down completely. So it's not that. So don't come at me or whatever about your opinion, your thoughts or whatever. It is yours and you have every right. But we don't need to chastise each other about you being who you are. You're no damn special than I am, and I ain't no special than you are. So it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, we're not going out like that. That is what it's all about, is us to come left and right to each other about somebody else's thoughts. Please, go somewhere with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't, well then fucking go away. Don't even come back. I'm talking about you. Fact of the matter. Don't come back. In fact, like I've always said, if you come back the next time, if you stay here longer than this, you're a hater, but you really a fan. Don't come back. We don't even need you here because you ain't offering shit anyway. You're not helping the community and ain't nobody listening to your ass anyway. So if you do, go start your own channel, go do what you're going to do and blah, blah, blah. So go away. Go away. I'm going to ban you for good. That's what I'm going to do. And good night and be gone. All right. I mean, that is crazy as all get out. And see that, and it doesn't make sense. And I don't care, but it's not just attacking me, but everybody in here, and everybody want to stand to be seen. That's fine. We all deserve to be heard and seen, you know, and state your opinion. But when you want to say that you standing on this and nobody else is, now we're a little shaky. Just claim who you are and stand by who you are and what you stand for. We can follow that. But don't attack nobody else because they're not falling in line with your thoughts. You know, that doesn't make sense to me at all. Yeah. So I don't know. You know, I'm sorry if I offended other people. I'm just telling you all, you know, I tried to ask hey, just be whatever. But then I put the person in timeout, but they come back in hard, and all that. And it's not about what we don't do or whatever. I don't stand to be right all the time anyway. I don't, some stuff I don't know. I'm here on a quest with y'all. We all together trying to find out something. Yeah, so it is one of those deals. I don't care. Yeah, so it was one of those deals. But anyway, I love everybody. Y'all know that. I have much love. I have much love. And we are at that time. So I want to tell you, I love each and every one of you. And I'll make sure I cut out this last part because I don't want to be seen that way. I don't, but it just sometimes be said. But if you are, whatever, but we would do this. So let me end it with a K out to say. All right, everyone, we have now come to the end of our hour. Well, 10 minutes over, and I'm sorry. I apologize for what we do. But I apologize for me, and I apologize if I offended each and anybody out here for my outburst or whatever. But I try to protect not only the sanity of any of us, but the whole thing of what we do, because we are truth seekers. And when you got somebody who claims that they know exactly, do not believe. Everybody got a piece of the puzzle that we can put together, but if they know it all, run as fast as you can, because they're delusional 100%. Now, I'm just saying that some people are smarter in other areas and they do have knowledge, but when it's absolute, there's no way. No freaking way. But I love you. I really do. I love you. I love what I do. And hope more of you. So if you ever decide that you're going to come into the fray, you're going to speak on the topics, make sure y'all go to Sonia in the World News. She has a YouTube channel. She's a storyteller. So if you want to sit down at night and just sit by your computer and hear her tell y'all some stories, that's the damn channel. She can do that as well. And if anyone else have a channel, we'll give you a shout out as well. All right, so talk to the party. It's Jarrell's birthday, so y'all give him a shout out. We are leaving, but happy birthday to you. Y'all give him a birthday right now, shout out, and we can do that. We'll give him a happy birthday. All right, man, happy birthday to you. And like I said, get your coffee. Support the channel. We need 20 customers. That's what we told them we're going to do, and they're going to support us every month to do what we're doing. So just 20 people that eat coffee. Y'all eat coffee. All right, love y'all. Good night. It's been a pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. I'll see you tomorrow, 8 o'clock. We're going to be here a few hours. The first couple of hours, we'll talk some good alien stuff, and then we're going to go deep into this Puff Daddy stuff the second hour because it's evolving. All of this, I just want to know more. Y'all may know more shit than I know. Y'all remember that psychic that came a few months? I need to go back and find her video when she was like, this was going to happen. I'm like, man, we got to talk, because some of y'all are psychic. I know, Summer and all of y'all are psychics. And so y'all need to really talk tomorrow night, because we need to know what's going to happen. And we're going to write it down. And we're going to say who said what. We're going to put it in our own little time capsules. And then we're going to go with it. Her name is Sloan. Yeah. So if anybody can find that clip, I thought I was looking for it. Email me the clip, or if you got my cell phone number, you can text me the clip. But find me the clip of when she said it, because I need to bring it into the fray of what we're doing. And pretty much, it's really cool. We need to do it. I roasted an organization on my channel. All right, Body Electric Supplement. She has a channel. Hey, put your channel name in here as well. So let me put that. Hang on, let me take this down. Make sure you put your channel name in here as well, so we can put that in there. I just put it in the chat. What did he put? I don't see it, Cal. I'm bagging up. Did you put a channel in it? Charles says, handle your business, Roderick. Yeah, Charles, I'm going to call y'all tonight, too. We got some catching up to do. And, all right, I just trying to say goodbye to everybody. All right, let me hang it up. Y'all, good night. Let's go. I was on the phone with Daddy, so why was I so late? That's all good. It's happy birthday to you. But tomorrow, we'll celebrate your birthday tomorrow, Jarrell. We'll make sure we do. So make sure you come in on time, 8 o'clock, okay? We'll do it tomorrow. Good night, y'all.